All right, we are live for the adbank AMA. I'm just going to drop the link in the chat here. Drop it there. Hope everyone's doing well. All right, when you join, give a thumbs up if you can hear. Drop a note in the chat. We're in our new location for now. We got some work to do to get everything fully set up, but this is our new spot. So yeah, if you can drop something in the chat just to let me know if everything is sounding all right. So we're going to go through the Q3 update that was just shared by Catherine and talk about some of the growth that has been happening, which is exciting. So give everyone a couple minutes to jump in, and then we'll get through everything pretty efficiently as we have been trying to do lately. Perfect. TOB Nurses, thanks for the heads up. So yeah, we'll know lots of people are joining after to see it at a later time. So we'll get started. So the main things we're going to cover are the tech, the team, the marketing, and then the progress against our main goals. So progress against our OKR in terms of users. So how we're going on all those fronts. So in terms of the tech updates, and as we go here, drop your questions in, and we'll get to them at the end. So on the tech update for Blade, we've had two big updates. The big one being we're live in Firefox with both the blocker and the replacer, and we'll talk about the growth numbers here shortly. But that's been a big part of that. So yeah, great job by Connor and the team to get Firefox live for both the blocker and the replacer. The other update that we pushed was the geo-targeting. So ability, this is something that the advertisers have been asking for. And so something that, Ant, how's it going? Good to have you here. To have the geo-targeting, so have the advertisers have the ability to target specific areas, especially as pockets in different geolocations becomes sought after. So we have an influx from Brazil, influx from Indonesia, influx from the US. How do we target those different areas? So now advertisers have that ability to do that. We have a lot of advertisers in the conference space, so other sort of blockchain related conferences, and this becomes a pretty attractive feature for them. So those are the two in-demand tech updates, which have gone well. The platform itself is working as it's supposed to. A few bugs got pushed, got fixed the other day, and yeah, constant little bit of constant work always happening on the platform. On the team side, no changes. The site stays current in terms of how the team is structured. Everything is working well on that front. And then probably our biggest few months in marketing in a while. So a few big activities. We've been talking about, kind of hinting at, we were working on something that would allow us to try and take one swing that would add a significant number of users. The need is that we need to get a significant number of users before we can go to the advertisers and say we have a number of CPM that gets interesting for them. So that big push was Veronita, and so doing a user migration plan with Veronita. Veronita was an ad block extension that was going to be rewarding users for blocking ads. Their ICO failed, but had a decent sized user base, and we set up a deal with Veronita to migrate those users over to adbank. It worked well, got us some attention. Number of users that moved over were not as high as we wanted, but every bit counts. And as we've seen with some other efforts, that user that came over that could have been the sort of snowball effect that led to the big push that we've seen recently. So the Veronita plan, well executed, went reasonably well. Not the numbers that we were hoping for, but still a great push. And then from that we were able to amplify that user migration news with the long-awaited Joe Blackburn podcast. So I was interviewed by Joe Blackburn talking about Veronita and the user acquisition. And if you haven't listened to his podcast, it's awesome. He certainly is a big fan of what we're doing with Blade and was strongly encouraging all the 100,000 users in his sort of ecosystem to come over and use Blade. So that was exciting. And then that sort of increased user base, we looked at, okay, great, increased user base, bunch of new faces, not sort of existing community members, but new faces that have come over. How do we get them engaged to be referring some of their users? And so that's where we had the September sign-up bonus, followed by the October referral bonus that we're in right now. And that has seemed to really kind of hit on what we need to be doing, which is growing the user base. And so since August 1st, I've got a couple stats here. Since August 1st, we've had 800% user base growth, which has accelerated. The fastest week, the week that we've had the greatest number of users has been coming on board has been the last week. So we've had an accelerating growth rate with 800% overall growth from August 1st to now. So yeah, that's an over to be precise, but over 800. But yeah, it's definitely what we were expecting, hoping for is starting to pan out in terms of these pockets of influencers. Excuse me 1 second. These pockets of influencers that have an audience are starting to really see the benefit of communicating to their own audience. So a lot of this promotion now is non-paid promotion, which is always great from a runway standpoint. And we're now just going to keep experimenting. And we've got some fun stuff coming up that takes some of the unique ability that we can do with Blade ads in terms of controlling timing and number of people and geolocation for who sees ads, to do a really fun contest that we think will get a lot of attention and Easter egg hunt style, but around the end of the year. So that's in the works, something pretty exciting. Catherine's brainchild, and I'm excited to. I think I'm more excited for this than I was for Veronita. I think it's got lots of opportunities to be be a case study for a unique way to market with Blade, which will then be the next step of getting on the advertisers. And so I'll talk a little bit about the kind of advertiser side right now. So continuing to not get the level of attention that we need because of where our user count continues to be. So 800% growth rate, awesome. We keep this going. We're focusing on the right side of this equation in terms of getting the users on board to get our impression count up, to get to go and have a number of impressions that becomes interesting to sell to advertisers. So still working on that front, and have attending a conference next week that I'll be doing a quick talk at in the sort of online advertising world. And so we'll be leveraging that talk to try and open up some more conversations of unique ways to get other advertisers that are smaller than the ones that we're targeting right now. How do we efficiently target them? And that's usually through sort of other players in the space. And how do we set up a structure that allows us to work with other players in the space instead of doing direct deals? So that's what one of the goals for next week will be on my end. And continuing to have the conversations, getting advertisers onboarded, just not at the velocity that we want. Certainly not matching the velocity of user growth, which will follow. So we knew we needed to focus on the user side. 800% growth rate since August, fastest growth rate in the last couple of weeks. Just continue pushing on what's working now, and some of our most exciting, unique, blade capable, world first type marketing efforts will be coming up over the next couple months. So that's where we're currently at. 10,000 users has been a target that we've shared from the start, and we're at 8,000 and change right now. So that's great progress against that main goal, and we just got to keep pushing on what's been working to get there. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, please drop them in the chat here, and we'll get to them. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to type, because I know I just kind of dropped that on you. But yeah, drop it in the chat. Other relevant information. Yeah, so in terms of the shed some light on the size of the advertisers that you mentioned. So the ones we're going after, so smaller advertisers generally aren't set up to do direct deals. So they're usually working through, like if you're a smaller advertiser, you're generally working through a platform like Google or Facebook. If you're a larger advertiser, you're doing that, also looking for direct deals with larger publications. So larger media assets like, a New York Times or something along those lines. And so those smaller players don't have the business systems and infrastructure in place to do efficient direct deals. The larger players that have the infrastructure in place has a minimum impression size that they do those orders with. And so we're stuck in between right now, having impressions that are attractive to smaller advertisers, but can't, for relatively obvious reasons, can't connect through the typical route that those impressions would be sold through, like a Google AdSense, because that just doesn't connect with what we're doing. And so we've got these smaller advertisers who do want these impressions, would want them, but we can't efficiently go about selling this number of impressions. So that's sort of an interesting place to be in right now, and we're needing to see how we can come up with creative ways to efficiently onboard smaller advertisers, while at the same time keeping those conversations going with the larger advertisers who say, "Cool, come talk when you have, love it. Come talk when you have 100 million impressions for the month," or depending on where they are, the size. So that's the sort of the size dichotomy that we're stuck between. Perfect. Team, what's the team working on to help boost downloads? So I think the growth rate that we've been seeing has been a part of that. Really trying to, from the start, integrate in the exponential growth coefficient into the product itself. So having the referral link, doing activities in September to bring in new users, doing activities in October to amplify those new users and get them activated to bring on new people. And that's what we've seen. Certainly a hot spot out of Indonesia right now, with a large percentage of our new users coming from that geography, which is fantastic, because if you look at sort of that population basis, that growth rate that we've been achieving from there, if we can extrapolate that out to all other sort of countries that have similar interests, which most of the world does, in terms of browsing the web, that's then the growth numbers can get where we want them to get to with just some simple math extrapolating out where we are. Yeah, so continue the momentum. So continuing what we've been doing. So the growth numbers speak for themselves. We're on the vein of gold, and we just need to keep on it, keep digging on it, keep amplifying it, and that's what we're working on. So how do we continue to attract new users, and once we get those users, figure out ways to amplify them? Like I said, the sort of project that Catherine is working on, that'll be sort of a November, December push, is I'm more excited for it than I was for Veronitas. I think it's got a lot of opportunities to be a world first in terms of a marketing strategy, and then leverage that as a case study. Leverage that to get the users, and leverage that as a case study to get the advertisers on board. By that point, having the user count that we really need to drive serious numbers. Awesome questions as always, Ann. Appreciate them. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Okay, not to be outdone by Ant. Yeah, so great question. In terms of where's Blade at? What's the next sort of tech effort around Blade? So right now we have enough to be successful. We have enough. We're demonstrating that we can experience exponential growth, and the platform can deliver and stay solid. So what is stopping us from achieving the success that we need is not an additional feature, and it is focusing on getting additional users, and then getting on the advertisers. We have stuff in the pipeline. We have trying to work on some activities around making it more mobile friendly. We'll say, exploring what that will look like for what we can do in terms of development for 2020. The AI piece, the machine is built, sitting there, waiting for the right level of scale to turn it on, and we'll look at that. So that's sort of a 2020 again timing. Distribution for the tokens from the September bonus. So that's currently happening. So to ensure that all your referrals in October qualify, they need to be KYC verified and actively using the extension. So they need to be using it, viewing ads, not just signing up, not just doing KYC, but signing up, installing it, and using it to qualify. And the distribution of the bonus will occur in the same way as the September bonus, where your external wallet, once you're KYC verified, you will receive your bonus within the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks after the end of the promotion. So yeah, great point, Ed. Okay, awesome, great questions as always. Appreciate them, and yeah, if I've missed anything, I'll be happy to answer in Telegram always, and appreciate the work that you guys are doing. Ant, TOB especially, great job in Telegram as always, and yeah, look forward to chatting with you guys again and having some more awesome growth numbers to share. Take care, guys.